I got a red.
You got a red?
I got a red.
Right now the ED is completely full, and on the floor we have 10 available beds.
The Integrated Capstone event, or ICE, is an exercise that we put together using multiple courses here at the Center for Domestic Preparedness, or the CDP. And we'll add an additional day to their training so they can work together and exercise and utilize those disciplines and those activities that they learn throughout the week and put them into practice.
We facilitate 3 structured planning sessions for students to participate in during ICE week to start the integration of all the disciplines and all the classes together. The first planning session that we do is the overview of the incident action planning process. We also provide information on the incident command system structure, because we want to have students during that first planning session focus on task organization, understanding where they fit into the ICS structure and how, what kind of resources they have available so they can start the planning process, because on Thursday before their event they will be tasked to actually brief an incident action plan of how they are going to respond to the event.
What I really liked about the week is that we start slow and then increase in intensity. So we're doing classrooms, we're learning, we're listening, and then we start to do tabletop exercises that make you think on the spot a little bit more. Then they heighten it by bringing you into these various exercises, and each day the exercises get more intense, harder, and force you to react more quickly and to think more sharply.
It's either resters above 30, cap refill above 2, or cannot do.
The second planning session that we host, we actually take the classes through the interactive map that shows all the CDP venues. So where every class is set up, or where they can set up during the ICE. After that, we allow additional planning time, so they take into account all the locations available to them, and they can start that planning process for when the event does occur, how they're going to execute their plan.
We work together every day, but we don't work together. And now we're all kind of on the same page. We understand each other's challenges, the challenges inside the hospital, outside the hospital. They understand some of our challenges in an EMS world. And then you mix in a little bit of hazmat, explosions, disasters, and it just forms a team. It makes us understand each other's roles a little bit better.
The final planning session is actually the presentation of the incident action plan that student leadership and all the classes have been working on all week long. This is where they present to everybody, to students, facilitators, instructors, controllers, and evaluators, so they know how students plan to act if and when an incident does occur. It's also important to realize all of these planning sessions, even though they facilitate, we have instructors that facilitate, they are all student driven to force that integration and interaction between disciplines.
I mean, the biggest thing is trying to figure out those main goals and objectives that you want to meet, and how you want to respond to those goals and objectives, and see how it filters down throughout the facility itself. So it helps to, like I said, that whole main common operating picture, you know, and kind of does like a real nice summary of what we need to be doing for whatever operational period we set.
Something like this was so organized and so well thought out, and to have team leaders ahead of time address mission, plan, improvement, sustainability, and then let alone have the evaluators give you this information and give you feedback, there is nothing better than this.
The morning of the Integrated Capstone event starts early for our students. We'll have breakfast scheduled, and at breakfast they'll actually see a media release that shows what has recently happened, whether it be an earthquake, a tornado, a terrorist attack, and it sets the stage for the integrated Capstone event.
Good morning, I'm Candy Waylock for Channel 6 News. Officials with the U.S. Geological Service have confirmed an earthquake measuring 7.0 on the Richter scale occurred in the city of Noble at approximately 4:45 this morning. We have been hearing from our viewers that many of you experienced the ground shaking this morning, and you will likely feel periodic tremors as aftershocks are expected for some time.
Within the Noble Training Facility, we have the Emergency Operations Center that is manned by the Hospital Incident Command Section that comes from the Healthcare Leadership course. Within the EOC, we have not only that Hospital Incident Command, but we also have the Facilities and Engineering, Logistics. We have the Hazmat Branch Director. Students participating in the exercise, working here in the Emergency Operations Center, are exposed to how an emergency operation should run.
And then we talked in the past about just making sure that we're sending periodic briefs down to the different areas of the hospital. Do we have a plan for that, or is there something that's already occurred that maybe I'm not aware of?
Our first responders in our field forces that are participating in the field activities are extricating survivors, they're treating them, triaging them, they're performing decontamination, while they're simultaneously coordinating with the incident commander or the field command to transport them to the hospital or to transport them to alternate care facilities.
Food on the one of these guys that we can potentially save.
There's a lot of behind-the-scenes coordination that occurs prior to and during the exercise. The exercise control group actually watches and evaluates exercise flow during play, where we can speed up or slow down injects. We can throw a curveball at the students if they need it to make it more difficult or less difficult depending on how they're actually doing. So there's a lot of communication that goes on between controllers, evaluators, facilitators to make sure everything flows correctly and the students meet all the objectives and get the most out of the event as possible.
They have established the hazmat comms with the branch director at 7:10.
So they were right on.
Yeah, they're right on target.
Good. Okay.
ICE centers around a mass casualty incident. So the healthcare courses at the CDP are the centerpiece of the ICE events.
Open chest wound, I put a chest tube in, and I did drew some blood off the heart with a pericardial tap.
Okay. So the other courses have play a part in that they're interfacing with the healthcare courses as they encounter a rescue situation and have to rescue disaster survivors. And those disaster survivors are then taken from the scene to the hospital, where our healthcare courses are then taking care of those disaster survivors.
Hey, Craig, we need a role player available to play Joseph Scott's mother, please. Let me know when you have the status.
But while we still use human patient simulators and mannequins to replicate a mass casualty incident, to boost up the number of disaster survivors that our students see, we also use paid professional staff of role player actors.
Just keep them on this end until we get them registered. Where's my group? Where's my group?
We use moulage to make up the role players so that they have realistic looking wounds, and the staff is a professional staff of actors who stay in character throughout, so that it causes the students to have to process information and make decisions about what they're seeing and what they're hearing from the disaster survivors who are role players.
Hold out here!
Calm down, everything's working, okay? You can also have a needle decompression, but this particular patient right here is in respiratory distress, and I'm controlling all of his bodily functions with this pad right here.
Mannequins and human patient simulators still have a big part in the mass casualty incident in simulating patients and disaster survivors, different functions that add realism and challenge the students with the technology that's integrated into them.
Well, they picked up that they don't have a pulse, so they're going to go in and do their CPR protocol.
which, if they do it correctly, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back for them, which they're doing everything correctly right now. This is one of the best classes I've seen in a while.
With the integrated Capstone event, we have all these agencies working independently, throughout the week. But that ICE event brings us all together so that we can focus on the main objective of trying to mitigate, respond to and recover from whatever incident's happening that they're throwing at us. And it gives us the opportunity in a lab training environment to be collaborative and to work with our community partners, kind of see what their resources and capabilities are and see how they can enhance our response to the event.
I have experienced something today that nobody else would be able to experience in the world. I mean, nobody, because we were able to to have an experience where nobody's going to get hurt for the most part, but we're going to have the opportunity to practice and to work with a variety of agencies and the whole hospital ICS. It just kind of gave me more confidence.